Have you checked the children? You're a little mad sometimes.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes. That is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil, Laird.
Fuego here.
Duell.
And we are here to do a patron-requested review. This was actually one of the monthly poll winners. So, if you didn't know, for our Patreon, we run a poll every single month where people can put one movie they want us to review, and then at the end of the month, everyone votes on the poll, and that review gets added to the list. So, this was the poll winner for just a couple months ago, and that is The Prowler. So this is one of the classic slasher movies, apparently. One of the earlier ones. Not terribly early. Let me see. It's 1981. Yeah. So it's before the Nightmare on Elm Street series, after a lot of other series had began. But it is one that I had never seen before. So I was excited to finally give it a watch. I have a stack of old horror movies over there that I never got around to seeing. This and The Burning were the two that were sitting at the top of my pile. Still haven't gotten around to The Burning, but both of them featured effects by Tom Savini. Mm-hmm. So that was what I was most excited about with this one. And my overall thoughts are, it was an okay movie, but the effects were outstanding. So it definitely would have been one I would have watched more had I seen it as I was growing up. It came out the year after I was born, so I didn't quite catch it. And I did enjoy it for, like I said, the gore, but the rest of the movie was pretty standard horror for me.
Okay. First viewing for me as well, and overall impressions, this is another one that, along with Maniac and The Burning, when we've been at these conventions and festivals, and they're like, oh, you're a horror expert, but you haven't seen this yet, and I'm like, I just don't like slashers that much, and so I didn't love this, but I will commend the brutality and the cruelty of a lot of the kills in this, especially on the ladies and stuff, and but I can see why it's heralded, because it is. I mean, the acting is actually better than I expected. It's not bad. It's at that late 70s, early 80s cusp when the self-parody and the silliness wasn't really there yet. It takes itself pretty seriously, and it was rather disturbing at times. High production value too, which I give them credit for.
Yeah, no, I dug the hell out of this movie. First time viewing and everything, but like it was already touched on, mainly the biggest strong point is definitely the effects of this movie. Mm-hmm. That's what really gets you into the whole movie. Other than that, it would have been basically kind of a take it or leave it kind of thing. But yeah, overall thoughts, I'm definitely glad I got around to finally watching this.
Fair enough.
Off the list.
Story. Fuego, you want to tackle the story on this one?
Yeah, I can tackle the story. So, post World War II, I should specify, there is a guy who comes at this dance that is at the very beginning of the film, and we do get this vintage war footage at the beginning, and then get some context as to why there will be somebody killing at this dance. It's apparently a soldier whose heart was broken by this woman, and he comes back to terrorize her specifically, and presumably the new guy that she had dumped him at whatever point for. Flash 30-something years forward, and they're trying to have the dance again for the first time, and lo and behold, we get the reemergence of this said killer, and he's like all in trooper fatigue and everything, and he's got his face totally covered, and war helmet and all that different stuff. And as they're trying to have this whole dance go down, women specifically, and a couple dudes here and there start getting picked off, and you can tell he's got some resentment towards the ladies because of how the heart was presumably broken, and we get some more of the backstory as things go on. But it really is, it's kind of by the numbers once you get past the kind of uniqueness of the framing device and the backstory behind it. Then it just turns into people running, people getting killed, and but the creativity of the kills and how they're written, I'm sure that stuff was at least put in the script as to how they wanted this particular kill to go down to a degree. And that's really the extent of the story, by the numbers, but a little more sophistication, I guess, but that came more so in the music, the kills, and just the set, the costuming, especially in the flashback scenes and production value. But decent story, but nothing that wowed me.
Same.
Nothing in particular about the story?
No, not too much. It was pretty cut and dry, your standard slasher film and everything like that. And again, like I'm more on the creature aspect for the films versus the killers. So again, these ones are kind of the take it and leave it for me, but the effects were the biggest part, like I said, of this movie.
So I think I might like slashers the most out of us three then, because I watch a lot of them, and I do enjoy them for the kills. I mean, that's why I watch a lot of them, and specifically a good amount of horror movies. So it does scratch the right itch. However, this one in particular, I having even never seen it before, and never, I could not have said, oh, I know what happens in this based on what I've heard. It wasn't one of those either. But I predicted the killer right away. Because it was like, why are we spending so much time getting to know a guy who's about to go on vacation? I'm like, oh, okay, he's gonna be the guy. I get it. But yeah, so it's outside of being able to predict that, it was just your typical slasher counting bodies until we get to the end reveal, which unfortunately, I had spoiled for myself by being smart. So
yeah, I mean, you've got your lusty co-eds, you've got your sheriff deputy who's trying to find them, and you've got your final girl. I mean, all of the tropes are in place here, but this is when they were at least being laid still and being like the foundation was still being built with a lot of these early slashers, whereas as the 80s went onward and we're like, oh, it's always going to be like that, this was one of those films that really helped put that groundwork down. So credit, I suppose, there.
Acting wise, again, I think we all agree that it's better than a lot of slashers.
Almost definitely.
But still nothing Oscar worthy. But you're not going to get that in a horror movie anyway, usually. So, but yeah, the acting, there was no one that really brought me out of it or anything like that. So I thought they all served their parts well
for what they had. And
True.
Everything.
Any other acting notes?
Yeah, I mean, I like the lead lady. I thought she was solid enough, and all of her stupid friends and whatnot. Sheriff wasn't bad either, and he's amusingly flirtatious with like all the women at the very beginning of the film, and I'm just like, you sly dog, you, or the sheriff's deputy, I should specify, the guy who's left in charge. Yeah, no real weak links, but I mean, it's just very standard fare for the time as far as horror goes. So.
It's funny you were mentioning the whole sheriff being all suave and smooth and everything.
Yeah.
Apparently, most of the work he did after this, it was all on Days of Our Lives.
He switched to the daytime soapies.
Yeah, same with our leading lady actually.
Oh,
she
really?
did a lot more of like the soap opera TV show stuff after this.
There you
There
go.
you go.
Okay.
Now, cinematography wise, it's pretty standard. Nothing that really I wasn't like, oh, this is a gorgeous movie or anything like that.
No.
So nothing really to
They
write
kind
home
of had
about.
like, a little dreamlike kind of filter over it. Looked like
Maybe, yeah.
There were certain scenes I would say like they had kind of almost like a fogginess.
Okay.
Depending on what they were kind of going for, it worked out pretty nice. I enjoyed it.
And they shot the pool scene well, and the graveyard scene.
Definitely.
And I mean, but
I thought that pool scene was better than the
I know
Strangers 2
where you're
pool
going.
scene. Everyone always is like, Strangers Pray at Night has the best pool scene ever.
That's what I thought of when I saw this one.
I like this one better, by a long shot.
Where are you gonna go?
Yeah.
Well, it's yeah, exactly.
And there's no 80s pop ballad or whatever.
Yeah, right.
No, yeah.
I will say one thing though, that, maybe getting a little early into this and everything's been a pop ballads, but the music on this movie is actually pretty solid.
I wanted to talk about it, dude.
I dug the hell out of this, especially during the dance scene.
The
and everything.
band
That was cool.
The band at the dance, even Catherine was just like, well, at least the music's good, whatever
Yeah.
crap you're watching.
I know,
All she saw was naked women getting pitchforked in the tub.
I kind of want to find this on Spotify and add it up and throw it in my queue.
Yeah, I was wondering if it was like an actual band that did it, because that was
sure.
the thing in the early 80s, was some of these metal and hard rock bands would do these scores for stuff of this nature. So yeah, I actually really dug the music, Robert. I'm right there with you, man. I thought it was dope.
But yeah, we gotta dive into the gore.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah.
it's the most standout thing. Again, it's created by Tom Savini, who is the legend in, or one of the legends of the horror genre as far as makeup effects go. We've had him on the channel for interviews twice, actually, and he, he just really knows how to make it look good and really go for it in big ways. The pitchfork scene, I feel like it raised the bar over other pitchfork scenes because it sticks with it for so long.
Sticks with it.
But there's a if I'm not mistaken, there was a head exploding kind of
At the end.
gag that was very reminiscent of Maniac, as a matter of fact. So there was just
it was a good ending scene. I will say that.
Well, and also the early flashback kill scene, which probably inspired the one in Jason Goes to Hell, where the two people get both stabbed together. There's a pitchfork through both of the loving couples, just like in the tent scene where he goes through both of them. And it was just like, damn, okay, laying the groundwork once again.
Well, I think they did that in an even earlier one.
Probably.
Well, they did that also in Jason
Through
Freddy
a
versus Jason as well.
through a bunk where where a couple is having sex too.
Yeah,
Lots
lots
of
of
machete through both of them. So yeah, it's some good homaging kills. Although at the time they weren't really homages because this was 81.
Yeah. So films have done homages to
this,
classic kills.
This was like the first time in Go.
Yeah. But yeah, so all of it added up to a more than competent, at least enjoyable movie. It's not one that I'll necessarily revisit every year, but maybe once every 5-7 years, I'll toss this one in and give it a watch. You know, just as a refresher.
I'll definitely
things like
tell
that.
people to watch it and everything. It's definitely worth the watch.
I can see the influence it brought, more
Yeah.
so than anything, even
Yeah.
if slashers aren't so much my thing.
To compare it to another
Your
earlier
mass
one that I
killers.
hadn't seen, My Bloody Valentine, the early one, I hadn't seen until a patron requested it, and I love that. That's one I actually have the special collector's edition on pre-order right now.
Oh, wow.
So I'm really excited to get that because that one is one I'll go back to on a more regular basis. So this one, not quite on that level, but still
Yeah, I
enjoyable.
haven't watched that one in a long time.
I've actually never seen it yet.
Oh, really?
Dude,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
so
and
good.
I know
It's
that
good, like-
one and Black Christmas are considered like two of the first slashers,
Yeah.
both from Canada too. So.
That one went for it, dude. My Bloody Valentine went for it, like, because I thought the 3D one went for it, but that one really did. Anyway,
See,
getting
I
off track.
didn't like that one.
Oh man, I liked it.
I like Jensen Ackles, but I did not like that one.
I loved
that's
it, but
right,
that was
Dean
some of
is
the
right.
early, really cool implementation of 3D in horror.
True.
When the pickaxe goes through the guy and puts the eyeball right in our face, I was like,
Oh.
"Yes, bitch, that's awesome."
Yes, bitch.
So,
like 3D.
yeah, so anyway,
Unapologetic.
let's go ahead and call this review here for the Prowler. Thank you again to all of our patrons for rallying together and forcing us to watch this one. I'm excited to see what this month's poll is going to yield. So thank you guys very much. If you want to become a patron, that link is in the description box, and you can tell us what movies to review or do commentaries for, depending on what tier you join up at. But until next time, thank you very much for watching. I've been Cecil Laird,
Gracias, Jaime, Fuego.
Robert Duell.
and remember, stay scared.